Okay, so today we're going to be covering more on the anti-mass immigration rallies. I've found a couple of videos here that, a couple of people walk through the crowd and sort of see what people's perspectives are, where their stands are, and basically what they're rallying for, which is going to be good for, just learning about what's going on and, what people actually want from these rallies, which I think is a very important point. If this is your first time to my channel and you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. And we'll continue to cover more of this as it evolves. So let's get into it.
You're misinformed.
Racist.
Exactly. That's what they're all saying. They're saying that all these people are racist, but
we need those floodgates installed where mass immigration is sustainable and does not inundate our communities, where our hard-working, fair-income Aussies are not drowned out of the housing market.
Well, hello my people, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are not traveling. Okay, we traveled from Western Sydney to Sydney CBD. This is a very different video to what we normally do. We came to a protest called March for Australia. I'm going to be interviewing people to know exactly what they are here for. Everyone is saying that these people are racist. I just want to show you the real side, not the side that the main media outlets are showing. I'm just going to show you what real everyday Australians think. Let's interview people. Let's go. So what's the main reason for this march?
Well, I think you have to ask all the individuals about their reasons to come in. That's going to be very varied. Of course, the media will pick out one or two individuals and say that's what we're all about. This country has gone probably over at least in my lifetime, 30, 40 years, in the wrong direction. I don't think that's all because of immigration. Yeah, we've become the biggest manning state in the world. This is not what the Australian idea of looking after yourself and your fellow mate.
We've been hearing in the news and everything is that everyone that comes here is racist.
Well, I think and that's the thing, if you actually look around and actually feel who's around here, there's a big mix of people here.
Yeah, okay. So I kind of like how this guy sort of, kind of sounds like a very level-headed sort of person. Obviously he sounds like he's just concerned about the rate at which it's all going and kind of the direction. I don't know if I 100% agree with, when this guy sort of keeps saying that everyone's calling him racist. I wonder where that's sort of coming from. But let's keep watching.
What the Australian idea of looking after yourself and your fellow mate.
I guess before we jump too far into this, it'd be interesting to know what people think in the comments below. What's your perspective on the anti-mass immigration protests or anti-immigration process? What do you think the best way for Australia to deal with the current immigration issue that's going on? What I'm sort of starting to see is that there's some people that want to completely, zero out the migration program. They want to basically reduce it from where it's at currently. Sitting between 400-500. I think the government projects it to be about 400 or less this year. Do you think we just need to tighten up the requirements there, or do you think you're on the fence on that we're doing an okay job? Which I probably think isn't going to be very popular. But let me know what you think.
We've been hearing in the news and everything is that everyone that comes here is racist.
Well, I think and that's the thing, if you actually look around and actually feel who's around here, there's a big mix of people here.
Why do you want them to stop mass immigration?
Mass immigration is causing more competitiveness in the job market. It's causing Australians to lose their jobs. It's causing more competitiveness in the housing market, higher rent prices. The cost of living is increasing. Our country doesn't have the infrastructure or the resources or networking to deal with all these people, right? Australian citizen homelessness is skyrocketing. We can't, our country can't afford it. Our people can't afford it. And we need to look after our citizens.
My understanding is that there's a lot of the skilled, if I'm talking about specifically skilled migration here, but the sort of places that aren't flooded would be kind of the top ones, being health services and engineering and stuff like that. I believe there's a bit of a job shortage. So this is kind of one of my sort of questions around this when people say they're flooding the job market. It kind of seems like those skilled jobs are still looking for people. Would be my only pushback, but I'm sure that's a very small percentage, or it might be a smaller percentage of what's going on. I mean, if the low skilled jobs are more competitive, then I guess that warrants. But for higher skilled jobs, it's a bit of contention there, and that's probably where we want to direct migration to actually be allowed is kind of in those positions.
Like, our country can't afford it, our people can't afford it, and we need to look after our citizens, not other countries' citizens.
So hang on a minute. So it's not stop immigration, it's mass immigration, right?
Yeah, mass immigration.
All right.
I'm all for immigration. My family's from Poland. If I couldn't immigrate here, my family wouldn't have survived the Holocaust. So I think immigration is good, but it needs to be in controlled numbers. There was 500,000 immigrants last year. That is the same as importing, I think it's 6 million immigrants each year into the US, if you were to scale it up to the US population.
What would you say to everyone out there, and especially on that side, that keeps saying that everyone here is racist?
I think you're misinformed. This is nothing about race. Like I said, we're all for immigration in controlled numbers, and we need to
Okay, so sorry, to circle back on what I said before about who's saying it, I think he's specifically pointing towards the anti-racism process, so I'll correct that.
prioritise the people that are already here in our country, this country, our home.
And now Albo. So what's the main thing that Albo is doing wrong?
Albo is encouraging all of these issues that we're speaking about. All of it. Every single one. He is a career politician. He's never had a job. He is nothing like the average Australian, and he does not represent our views.
Do you think he's coping?
Pretty sure Albo, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure Albo is, he is for immigration, but I think his plan is, he supports like the reduction to like, I think it's like 185,000, which is in line with the Home Affairs Minister. I think 185 is the number that they're trying to achieve. So I don't know if, but maybe he's not doing a good enough job, which is probably where they're coming from.
UK policies, which are really bad at the moment. They're having a really bad time there.
I think as long as we have a more left-leaning government, the same as the UK, anything that happens in the UK within 5 to 10 years, it happens here in Australia.
Thank you very much, man. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All right, so I'm really curious to kind of hear what you guys think. Drop in the comment below if you agree with me or disagree with me here, but just follow me along. My understanding is that net overseas migration, up until COVID, was kind of hovering around like the 150 to 200k mark, and then after when COVID hit, it dropped just due to everyone leaving, and then when the border started opening, that's when everything sort of flooded out, and that's when we got to that 500k mark, and then it dropped down to 450k. And now we're probably sitting at was estimated to be about 400k. All right, these are sort of rough figures, but so maybe if you are watching, I'm just bringing up, just follow me along here. But if you're just listening, I'll try and describe this as best as possible. But if we kind of look at here, so we've got 2015 on the left and 2025 on the far right. If we kind of look at 200k here and we'll say 500k here. Okay, so tell me if you agree with this or not, right? So from 2015 up until about COVID, look at about here. What was COVID? 2020, which is kind of when all the everyone started leaving. We kind of dropped to wherever it was, down here or something. It was, just use that arbitrarily for now. And then after, when the gates started opening up, it kind of spiked back up, and now it's kind of doing this, right? So here's at about 400k. Now that's my understanding of what the the net overseas migration numbers are. So I want to know is if people were happy here, or do we think that we should be aiming more so down here? So we kind of want this to kind of drop down to this mark, right? Because this is what I see in my head. In that this is the sort of data that I've looked at from the ABS. So if people were happy with how things were pre-COVID, which is around here, that's the kind of target that, from my understanding, the current government is trying to achieve again. Whether this sort of what's happened here, and this is all under Albo too, right? This, you kind of got to be a little bit, from my perspective, you kind of got to be a little bit compassionate or understanding that no other government has had to actually deal with this issue before, especially in Australia. I don't know about other places, like, 100%, but this kind of issue is is a once in a lifetime to try and manage, because you've got this huge influx of people, like all these people that had their visas, that applied for visas, that have paid for it, they've been already like accepted, all this sort of stuff. This is like basically what, like, because a lot of this was students and that, yeah. If we look at this line here, so that's kind of the shaded area here is the difference, right? This is basically what the outcome from the pandemic has caused on migration, and that is what I think is which has been like the biggest influence on what's sort of going on now in terms of the flow-on effect to housing and inflation and et cetera. This is the sort of thing that we're dealing with. But I don't know if that's kind of understood by a lot of people. I mean, as we keep watching through the video, like I'm sure some people will bring sort of this shaded area up. But where I'm sort of trying to understand is if people actually if they're in this lot where they're like, let's return it to how it used to, or I was actually happy 10 years ago, or if they're like, nah, 10 years, well, and this is that guy before, he even said that, he said, I even seen it in my comments from the previous video that people have sort of been witnessing these changes in the past like 2 decades. So that would kind of indicate that they think it should be lower than 200K. I'm thinking, this is probably the area where we'll probably see the most change. So you tell me if you agree with what's going on here and what you think, or if you think that this shaded area isn't the issue, it might be something else. Because this is kind of what I'm led to believe at this point. And trying to control this for the government would be extremely hard, not impossible, but my understanding is that Albo is trying to bring it back down to this level. For the Minister of Home Affairs, was it Claire O'Reilly? She's trying to get it down to this level. And even the Treasury said, Jim Chalmers said that we've got to get it back down to this level too, to be able to, keep up economically as well. So this is the way that I sort of see the argument needing to go. But let's let me move that up there. We'll keep going. See how we go.
A full-scale release of mass immigration is what is happening in our country right now. Floodgates are in place for a reason. A measure to protect the dam structure. We need those floodgates installed where mass immigration is sustainable and does not inundate our communities, where our hard-working, fair-income Aussies are not drowned out of the housing market. Australia has an illegal immigration problem from people overstaying visas. According to the Department of Immigration and Border Protection, the current total number of illegal migrants living in Australia is approximately 62,700 as of today, a figure that is increasing at a rate of 5% annually. However, only 2,000 illegal immigrants are deported every year.
Nice.
Yeah, so what he said there, he said 60,000. So how many, and let me bring this down so you guys can see. How many illegal immigrants in Australia? Estimates from 2024 indicate that approximately 70,000 people were living in Australia. Okay, so he's got some statistics there. How many immigrants are deported in Australia? Well, the exact number is up to date. In a recent financial year, around, say 6,000 unlawful residents left voluntarily. So that's, close to 6,000 left voluntarily. Department of Home Affairs statistics from 2022 indicate the number of people increased. So there's 2,000 are in detention. Okay, so this is hard as well because it's 2022, but yeah, it kind of sounds right what he's saying there. So what was it? 70,000 illegal immigrants in Australia. Then a very what's that, like close to 10% are actually leaving. That's I can see that as a definitely been an issue. Do you guys sort of agree with that? Do you disagree with that? Do you think there's a problem? Do you think it's kind of standard? Let me know what you think.
Shirt, what is it about? Can you tell me about the shirt?
Pauline Hanson, One Nation.
You know, I'm not like a full-on Pauline Hanson fan, but like I kind of like this. I kind of like, you know, there are kids out there sort of, you know, getting involved. You know, it's even though it's that party, I mean, it's good that, you know, we got this is the sort of younger generation that we sort of need to see positively influenced. Let's say that.
At the current moment, it's the third largest political party in Australia, recently overtaken the Greens.
What's the main thing that you like about Pauline Hanson?
She's got no messing around. She doesn't mess around. She gets straight to the point. What she says she's going to do, she does. She really goes for it.
I've heard a lot of people saying that basically everywhere in the world we need a Trump. And I believe that Pauline Hanson's policies align a lot with Trump's policies. Why do you think that people are saying that we need some...
Hang on, wait, what?
With Trump's policies? Why do you think that basically everywhere in the world we need a Trump? And I believe that Pauline Hanson's policies...
Well, okay, I definitely don't agree with that. Australia needs a Trump. I kind of... Yeah, I don't know about that. I definitely don't think we need a Trump in comparison to America right now. I think Australia is doing, I would say, better. There's a bit of chaos that's going on in America right now. I can tell you, if we were having these types of rallies in America, there would be a lot more chaos. You know, that's my opinion anyway. What do you guys think? Does Australia need a Trump?
Policies align a lot with Trump's policies. Why do you think that people are saying that we need someone like Trump?
Well, he's really making a difference in America. He's really changing it, and a lot of countries in the world, they're getting messed up, and we need some change in it.
Yeah, but America's one of those places that are getting messed up. It's not. I don't think what Trump is doing is good. You know, I think it's a bit chaotic. Like, yeah, he's rattling the cage, but man, he's all over the shop. I don't think, like, most of the stuff that he says isn't even true. You know, the claim that he stopped 8 wars, I'd like that's obviously not real. I don't think, like, their economy is pretty fucked from what I can see. They're struggling just as much as we are. I don't know. I think we can go in a different direction, and I don't think the Australia is like the US, but I don't want it to go the same as US either.
Immigration has just gone through the roof. The cost of living's gone through the roof. We can't survive, and there's no racism here. There's no anti-Semitism or anything else like that. It's all about whoever you are and you love your country, come and join us and make the change.
Scotty, are you...
Yeah, okay. That's sort of what I'm sort of seeing most people believe, but like this is where I sort of say, yeah, you can stand for Australia and all the marches and that and what it shows, but like what do you want to change? What do you sort of see changing, like policy wise, for Australia to basically get back to where you believe it was better? Like what year, or, you know, when was Australia in your eyes perfect? What do we need to change? Like where has it gone wrong? And what do we need to do to get back there? Because if you go back too far, it's just unrealistic, just because of the, you know, sheer change in technology, diversity, all these sort of things. But, you know, it'd be good to sort of hear what exactly they want to change.
Anti-immigration or anti-mass immigration?
Anti-mass immigration, yes.
Okay.
Yes, flooding the country.
Thank you so much, Scotty. I really appreciate it. You too.
What's the situation like in schools nowadays? Is it difficult to speak about these topics in school?
Yeah, because more than half my grades probably Asian.
And if you say things like mass migration and things like that, would the teachers sort of tell you to like not talk about
We must fly.
For us today, we are here.
See, that's... Yeah, like, I don't know, like... is political conversations even allowed in schools? Like, I'm not too sure. Maybe like at the federal level, I guess probably like, I think schools would do a good job if they did like, you know, class sort of politics in a way of like, you know, voting for, you know, a class president or a school president kind of thing. And then they, you know, help to basically manage, you know, some small funds where they do, you know, field trips or, you know, just events and things like that. I think that that'd be a good way to sort of introduce the concept of politics into schools. But I don't know about getting them to speak about immigration would actually be like beneficial. I don't know. This is actually quite an interesting thought. What do you guys think? Because I would think like children having discussions about immigration, which can be a slippery slope into, you know, racism and you know, what's the word? Discrimination and stuff like that. I don't know if kids would kind of understand, you know, the actual impact of those things, just from, you know, being young and you know, not having as much life experience. They're kind of in a very developmental stage. But I still think like you could still learn the skills of politics through some other mechanism. I hope that sort of makes sense. But, you know, I think this kind of guy is, yeah, it's kind of sad that, you know, he kind of feels like he can't speak about something just due to, you know, race in his class. So that's a bit of a tough sort of thing to think about, I think.
Like not talk about
So we must fly.
For us today, we are here to save Australia from you know, decades-long corruption, and you know, we are here to preserve our like national identity and interests. We are here to gather like, you know, for like, you know, the concept of democracy for freedom for Charlie Kirk. I see your shirt right there, you know.
Nice. What do you say to people that say?
Oh man, I said this in the it was one of the comments in my previous videos when we were talking about the US. I think we were talking about the far right gaining influence in the US, and you know, whether that's going to spill over into Australian politics. And this is kind of what I mean, how that this Charlie Kirk thing, there's two hot topics, which is the Candace Owen being refused into Australia, or refused, or just unable to speak. And anyway, something about, you know, not being able to come into Australia or something, and then the Charlie Kirk assassination. This is sort of what I was talking about, how that spillover is starting to come into Australian politics. Like, it shouldn't be associated with much for Australia, from my perspective. I mean, I could be wrong. You guys can, you know, tell me what you think in the comments below. But, you know, I would think that the anti-mass immigration protest shouldn't have anything to do with those sort of, like, you know, the Charlie Kirk thing. Absolutely not. Like, so this is kind of where I sort of see some things spilling into it, where if the anti-mass immigration protest is specifically trying to get the message across to the government that, hey, we want to reduce, we want some action taken on the net overseas migration influx, then that should be the core message, and that should be drilled straight into Parliament, and specifically at the Home Affairs Minister, the Treasurer, and also the Prime Minister. Yeah.
That we are racist for being here.
Absolutely not. I mean, look at me, look at you, look at this right here, right? Yeah. It's about character. We are thankful for less immigration, but however, like, you know, it needs to be done legally. You know, we need to filter out, like, you know, those who believe in quantity over quality. It's always quality over quantity, and it's like, you know, that's what's necessary for our stability and for our growth, isn't it?
Thank you so much, Richard. I really appreciate it. Okay.
Yeah, I think that kind of touches on the skilled migration sort of thing, the quality over quantity. From what I could read, it was something like 40% of immigrants are doing low skilled jobs, and then, you know, it's like a 25% are doing the skilled workers, which I think is more of where the job shortages are, which I think that there should be a hyper focus on that. And I think I've watched a couple of interviews with Tony Abbott, and he kind of says that that's the skilled migration program needs a lot of attention. And I think even the Home Affairs Minister, is it Claire O'Neill? Pretty sure it's Claire O'Neill. You know, she's even of that opinion too. So, you know, get your act together. But Yeah, so I think like if we kind of focused, if we were to focus more on that sort of position, I think that would be able to reduce those numbers quite substantially. So I think that's that quality over quantity from my perspective.
Going forward, I propose a 5-year mass immigration pause to help.
So 5-year mass immigration pause. Man, so what does that even look like? Is that zero immigration or migration into Australia?
Social and economic recovery. An increase in Australian working visas to 5 years. And then you can earn the opportunity to apply for citizenship.
Australians are suffering, they're sleeping in tents.
Is that what you guys sort of read into that too? Is that's talking about so 5 years pause on immigration or migration to Australia, and then also you have to work in Australia for 5 years before you can apply for citizenship. I don't know if I agree with the pause thing, but I think you still need some, unless like if you have already been accepted and you're allowed to, come into Australia, then that's still good. But like, from date X, you cannot from after that. I think that's probably something a bit more plausible.
They're sleeping in their cars, and then they're letting all these wogs in, giving them money and giving them housing. We need to take care of us first.
And do you agree with getting rid of all immigration or just mass immigration?
I agree with getting rid of a lot of immigration, deport a lot, give us a chance to catch up and then start,
Okay, so she's talking about deporting and basically having a
We need to take care of us first.
And do you agree with getting rid of all immigration or just mass immigration?
I agree with getting rid of a lot of immigration, deport a lot, give us a chance to catch up and then start,
So you want to deport some people that are already here, okay? And then you want to get rid of it. I'm kind of reading from her sort of answer there that she wants to stop all immigration too. So it's similar to the 5-year ban, I'd say.
They're sleeping in their cars, and then they're letting all these wogs in.
With like obviously the direction that she's going to take care of Australians first, which I think a lot of people are of the same opinion. I think just having a different way to get there.
Giving them money and giving them housing, we need to take care of us first.
And do you agree with getting rid of all immigration or just mass immigration?
I agree with getting rid of a lot of immigration, deport a lot, give us a chance.
I can't quite understand. That doesn't really answer his question. But in a roundabout way, it kind of sounds like deport and, get rid of a lot of immigration is kind of what she said. So maybe it's not zero, but, reduce that number substantially.
Chance to catch up and then start,
I keep also hearing that we need someone like Trump here.
Yeah, we need someone like Trump because he has balls. Albanese.
Oh, man. I guess like Trump, not saying, I don't know. I just don't want a Trump. I don't know about you guys, but I definitely do not want a Trump.
He has no balls.
Look how nice. All we see is the Australian flag, the Aboriginal flag. I saw a pirate flag, I don't know why. But you don't see crazy things like the communist flag and flags from other countries that have nothing to do with Australia. I think that's beautiful. And that concludes the March for Australia. Completely peaceful, really nice to be honest. And now I can...
Good on you, Eddie. That was, it's good. He did, went up and spoke to a fair few people. All right. Australia says no more. Okay. I don't know if you guys know who Chris Boy is, but I think he's done a few of these videos now. It's actually pretty cool. Go check him out.
Hey, my name's Chris, I live in Australia, and today I'm out in Brisbane at the second March for Australia rally. People are starting to show up a little bit early, but this is a nationalist rally, this is a patriotic rally. We're here to put Australia first, we're here to be heard. Let's go, let's check out this rally. I'm going to show you the good, the bad, the ugly, so stay tuned in. Hey Bob, how are you, mate?
Here we go. Welcome to round 2.
Is this the same guy?
The sequel you've all been waiting for.
I feel like I've heard this guy's voice before on the other side. He was doing an interview on, I think he was talking about like apprenticeships, what the government's doing for apprenticeships, and I think he's like an entrepreneur with a couple of construction companies or something, I want to say. Sounds very similar, very distinctive.
And unlike all those DC and Marvel movies, this one will be good. I want to personally thank every single one of you for coming today. You have no idea how proud I am to be an Australian when I see a crowd like this. You are my people, literally. Thank you so much. We have a mission today, and that mission is to let the powers that be, the people that ignore you, the politicians that don't listen, the media that pretend you don't exist, the banks that just want to rake profit out of you, a society that's told you that you're toxic for years, we are here to say enough is enough. Because this is our moment, and this movement will continue to grow. We threw the signal in the air last time and you all listened. We've got more people coming this time. People from around the country that didn't endorse this movement last time are here celebrating it with us because they know that this is our movement too, and their movement. And so if you see someone that was poo-pooing it last time that's here this time, you give them a big hug and you say, I love you, mate. There you go. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have a fantastic event planned for this afternoon. A couple of things I need from you all. Number one, if they yell at you, spit at you, call you names, label you a Nazi and do all the lovely things, just smile and wave. Show me. There you go, smile and wave. That's how we do it. That's how we do it in Australia.
That's good. I like that he's done that. Definitely kind of sets a better tone. And that should be, shared a fair bit. Yeah, that's good. I like that.
That wasn't one of those. Just smile and wave. Right. Now, if they keep going at you, don't retaliate. All right, we've got security, we've got police everywhere, we've got great people that have got yellow vests on. You'll see them around you. Look out for them. If there's a problem, just wave them down and say, hey, there's a problem here. The police are here for us. And first of all, before I get too far ahead, thank you to our ladies and gentlemen in blue today. Seriously.
Yeah, pay respect for cops. I like that too.
We want to talk about heroes and my heroes. And how good are those coppers on horses, eh? How about that? We love our boys and girls in blue, and we thank everyone for their service to this country. The AMBOs, the teachers, the firefighters, the ex-ADF guys, the ADF guys that are in now. I acknowledge and see every single one of you. That's my welcome to country. Good time. We're here to celebrate Australia, and we're here to let people know they keep ignoring it. Now, I've got a special treat for you when we get there. I have one of Queensland's, Australia's, no, probably the world's best cover band doing a live music gig this afternoon with a huge sound system and a fantastic stage, and we would love to see you all hang around and do some dancing with me. Because Aussie music is the best. My one golden rule today, you must hold your flag high. You must be proud of it. You must show me and everyone around you that this is the flag that we will live, breathe and die under. This is us, and we are not ashamed to be who we are.
Ready on things? Getting ready to march for Australia. We're doing 2 bridges today. Going across 2 bridges. We're going to meet up at the end. We're going to capture the good, the bad, the ugly. But everyone is in high spirits. This is looking like a good day. People are dancing. We're blasting AC/DC. It's a good day out in Brisbane today. Use another one, mate. No one's yours, Aussie. Yeah, let's do it. Aussie! 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 Legends! Oi! Aussie! Oi! Ready, Scotty? Ready, mate? You ready? Right. Taking some work. Yeah.
Bit of slim.
How you doing today, Malcolm?
I'm well, mate. How are you?
Very well, very well.
Slow down.
Oh, all right.
Get that vehicle to slow down, mate.
Yep. I've got 100 miles an hour.
Not too sure if you heard that chant there, but I think that was an Albo as a wanker. What's this sign say? Yeah, immigration exacerbates Australian house. Sure.
Slow down.
Prove me wrong.
Oh,
all right. Get that vehicle to slow down, mate.
Yep. I've got 100 miles an hour. Great weather today, isn't it, mate? Good weather for the march.
We're soaking wet for about 2 hours.
Let's go now.
We're going anywhere, and we're coming back, and we're going to march in every.
Mass immigration does not net zero scam. Next generation 12 trillion debt. Okay. So the chant, okay, so you guys tell me this. The chant for Albo must go and Albo is a wanker. So from that, I would gather that, you know, everyone thinks that this is Albo's problem and possibly he's not doing what he needs to tackle immigration. I think if you watched before when I was drawing up this lovely pictured graph, you know, before 2020, net overseas migration was kind of sitting around 200k, you know, on average kind of thing, or you know, just less than that. And then after COVID, we hit this 500k high, and then it's sort of dropping now down to 400k, which is over the space of like 3-4 years. This sort of shaded area here, which is where I think a lot of the issue is actually coming from. This is just something that the government has never had to deal with before, from my understanding. And I don't think many other countries have had to deal with this issue either, not at this volume. I think that for a government to actually know how to deal with this, and with COVID, and then the stupid, like, trying to deal with all the other spot fires of, like, you know, environmental impacts, housing, jobs, inflation, all that sort of stuff. Having to deal with all that would, I don't know, from my perspective, I think there needs to be a bit more compassion on this aspect. I know there's other stuff that Albo does that's very, very questionable. But when it comes to this, if we're specifically talking about this, I think this would be very, very hard to manage. And I think this sort of like the post-pandemic impact is a lot greater than what anyone assumed. I think people think that now, because things are just sort of back to the way that they are, you know, whatever happened in the pandemic is done, but there's just so much that's come from it, and we're going to be dealing with it for like another, like, for, you know, I think they're projected like, you know, 1 to 2 decades. We're going to be dealing with the post-pandemic. So yeah, like, I still think that sort of needs to be taken into consideration, and then going to the extent of saying, you know, Albert's wanker and, you know, he must go and stuff like that. If you're only thinking that because of the immigration stuff, then yeah, I think there's just a little bit more to unpack there. I don't know if you guys think that way, but I do.
Albo must go! Albo must go! Australia for Australia! Australia for Australia! Australia for Australia! In the day, we haven't come across any counter-protests yet, but I have heard they're out there. But everyone here is here for Australia first, and we are having a blast. It's good vibes, good energy, great weather. What more can you ask for?
Oh, this is Brisbane, not Melbourne, sorry.
Trying to get a shot over, but the entirety of South Bank is filled with people marching. It's curved back around the corner to the first bridge. People are still walking across that bridge right now. You watch the mainstream media, they're going to say there's like 1,000 or 2,000 people here. That's fucking bullshit. There's 10,000 people plus here marching Brisbane right now. What a house! Isn't that what you said? I did. It's impossible, mate. We're all going to be homeless.
President Donald Trump. Yeah! And the reason why is because we're about to record a video for President Donald Trump. Yeah! We're going to send him a little video that maybe he'll play for Albanese when they meet in the Oval Office. What do you reckon? Trump is the master of the ambush. Do you reckon he'll listen to Australia? Well, I need your help. So in order to record this little...
Do we think that Donald Trump will listen to Australia? No. What? He's too busy fighting with like half of his own country. I don't get this sort of like. This is so in my previous video in the comments I mentioned a few times. Do we think that US politics is starting to have a bit of an influence on Australian politics? And so I'd say like the ones that are sort of spoken to think that there isn't, but then when you come out and you hear this, it is. Like now we're looking to Trump to be able to speak with our prime minister. Like I get it, like, you know, we need someone these people want someone to actually shake our and be like, hey, you've got, you know, hundreds of thousands of Australians, if not millions, that want change, listen to them, etc., etc. That's fair enough. But I don't think Donald Trump is the person who's going to do that. Is that how you guys, put in the comments below if that's how you think? But like, I don't think we should be, this is where I think like the messaging needs to be directed in a better way for these, or maybe it's just we need more people, at these rallies, and there should be like petitions. I haven't seen yet like a petition like QR code that you can sign, and then because petitions can make a difference if there's enough numbers.
Play for Albanese when they meet in the Oval Office. What do you reckon? Trump is the master of the ambush. Do you reckon he'll listen to Australia? Well, I need your help. So in order to record this little 60-second take that we're going to send to the Don, I need all of you behind me. And when I go like this, I need you to yell something, not elbows a wanker. No. I want you to yell, yes. Just say yes, okay? We want Donald Trump to encourage Elbow to close the gates, to help us do what the Americans have done and shut their border and get control of their country. So let's do this. You ready?
Yeah, see, I don't even, like, the way that Trump has, like, handled their immigration, like, I don't think that's... Okay, that's actually probably a really good question, actually. Like, do you think Australia should be treating our immigration process similar to the way that Trump has done with like closing the borders and that? There's been an obvious change in their sort of people coming into the US because of what he's done, yes, but it's had huge impacts. I don't know if you sort of followed, but when he first completely closed the borders, the US had heaps of issues with like a lot of like, because a lot of people were deported, that heaps of issues in like farming and all those sort of like low skilled sort of places. They had huge shortages, and then that cost them huge in terms of economic output. And then he sort of backtracked and said, okay, now we sort of need some. And then he sort of like started trickling back. And then they had all their issues with like their HB1 visas and all that sort of stuff. Like they had a lot of issues, and I don't think that we should be like, we could look at that and probably build on that and maybe change some things. And I just don't think Australia is going to be that aggressive anyways. But I just don't think that should be I don't think that's the way to go. You guys might think differently. Or like, yeah, what do you think? Should we be treating Australia's migration similar to the way that Donald Trump did?
Can you see the crowd behind me? All right, now listen up, everyone. Listen up.
I do think like there is a huge difference. I'm going off a bit of a segue here, but like there is a bit of a difference with like, I feel like Australians can say wanker and like all this, like those sort of name calling, but then not really mean anything violent or malicious behind it, which I don't think is similar in the US. So I think it can kind of come as a bit of a shock when you sort of hear those things. I mean, yeah, I just think that's a bit of a cultural difference, but it just makes me laugh how like Albo as a wanker is kind of like and accept it, and people just laugh about it and shrug it off. Whereas I reckon if you did that in the States, that would probably be a little bit more. That would take it a little bit more personally, possibly.
When this man here gives you the signal, I want you to go yes. All right, you ready?
Missed the signal.
All right, you're recording? Dear President Trump, my name is Scott Challen and I'm standing in front of thousands of Australians here. Let me hear you guys. Mr. President Trump, with all the heartfelt respect in the world as the greatest ally of the US, Australia, we think you're awesome, and we know you've done an amazing job to close your borders, make your country safe, and make America great again. We know that you're meeting with our Prime Minister, Mr. Albanese, on Tuesday the 20th.
Yeah.
Make your country safe and make America great again.
Make it safe. Look, I don't even agree with that because it's not safe there. Like they literally just had like one of the largest political right-wing conservative people assassinated. Wouldn't they have mass shootings all the time? Wouldn't say they're making it safe, but yeah.
We know that you're meeting with our Prime Minister, Mr. Albanese, on Tuesday the 20th. And we want you to please encourage Mr. Prime Minister Albanese to shut the gates.
So I guess let's just touch on what's his name? Chris Challen. So that is the guy that I thought that was him. Chris Challen, he's sort of saying, put a 5-year ban or pause. Sorry, should use pause. Put a 5-year pause on migration into Australia. So all these people cheering on are basically, I would say, supportive of that. So close the gate, zero migration into Australia. I don't think that is a good plan. Just based on, I'm no economic researcher or whatever, but from my understanding is that would not be a good way, and it would have a lot of economic issues post closing the border to zero. I think you still need some from a productivity and GDP per capita sort of standpoint. It would obviously reduce, they'll obviously reduce that number substantially, but I think you would get a lot of backlash from it. I think reducing it to like a number like 100 to 150k with like strict measures could be good, but you'd have to sort of accept that there's going to be some rebounding to do for like, I don't know, however many years. It could be 1 year, could be 2 years, could be 3 years, could be 5 years, could be 10 years. Would people accept that? Don't know. Yeah, I just don't know about promoting shutting the gate for 5 years.
President Trump, did you know that Australia has more international students than the US and you have 10 times our population? What? What the heck? We can't believe that. Australia doesn't have a sovereign border. We let in anyone pretty much from anywhere around the world, and we want to shut the gates to give Australians a future. You are our greatest ally. We believe in you, America. We know that you believe in us, and we know that together these two great democracies can change the world. We stand with America, and we want America to stand with us. Let's go, Australia. Someone says to you, the next time someone says to you, what does marching achieve? What did you just do? We just sent the most powerful man in the world a little video from tens of thousands of Australians.
See, now looking at this, like, Donald Trump didn't even show Albanese the video. So, like, that was unsuccessful. Like, I think it's a good idea. Yeah, maybe. But, like, I don't think we should be leaning or going in that direction if we want change.
Australians! This is what marching does.
Under Anthony Albanese, you know what he's doing? He's writing to the mayors across this country, urging them to increase the citizenship ceremonies, to increase their votes. That is treason to the Australian people.
They can't win a proper election!
They're doing this because mass immigration is their final tool. We are the descendants of Anzac turned kings, of diggers who clawed gold from the earth, of Anzac who's charged through hellfire in Gallipoli for this sacred ground, Australia.
That's why we stand here for our future's future. Because if the government won't protect our kids, then we the people must stand and demand it today.
Hi guys, I'm here for the same reasons you are. We want to make sure our children get the same opportunities as our forefathers gave to us. The story of Australia is an incredible one. It was built on the sacrifice of our forefathers, and we owe it to our forefathers to make sure we pass those opportunities and that wealth on to our children. We also want to make sure we stand up for those Australians who try to stand up for themselves. We are sick and tired of the government controlling us. For the last 40 years, we've seen government sell all the infrastructure that was built by our parents, that was meant to serve us, that was meant to provide essential services. And they've marched on into the family home, the classroom, the bedroom, the corporate boardroom, God forbid, the doctor waiting room through COVID, and they're telling us how to live our lives. And it is not the role of the government to tell us how to live our lives, it's the role of the government to serve us. So we want to... So we want to tell the government of Australia, get back to doing the things that matter. Get back to serving us, stop telling us what to do, and to put us, the Australian people, first. Thank you.
Queenslander.
Whenever people talk about the country, say, look, there's a million things we could have done better, but for everything we could have done better, there's 1,000 things we did right. And we should be proud of that. We should be grateful for that, and we should defend that. So that's what I'm asking of you today. Stand up for your country. Don't put up with these bullshit narratives that are designed to take it from under your feet. Thank you.
Thanks, Robbie.
Look at all your bloody flags, it's one.
So that's what I'm asking of you today. Stand up for your country. Don't put up with these bullshit narratives that are designed to take it from under your feet. Thank you.
Thanks, Robbie.
I've always it's always like a inner conflict kind of thing when you hear, like our words wanker, everyone hates the government, it's so corrupt, blah 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 blah. They're not doing their job. But then there's the other half, which is like, okay, yeah, Australia's the best place in the world, and Australian people are the greatest, and blah blah blah. It's kind of like Australia, like which one is it? And which one, I understand, Australia is a great place to live. We do have a lot of luxuries, and depending on where you live and your upbringing and stuff. I mean, sure, there's some really there's some parts that struggle. I mean, I've done a lot of work out towards Catherine. That place is hard. I'm definitely more of a city dweller or like a beach goer. Living on the coast of Queensland, it's a very, very good life. So in that aspect, yeah, it is the best place to be. And then, sort of having such a negative perception of our government, it just kind of, I don't know, to some degree, it kind of contradicts that in some ways. I don't know how you guys feel about that or what you think about that, but it does that contradict when you sort of hear things like that? I don't think I've ever heard anyone, or other than politicians, who actually say, yeah, I love Australia and I love our government and I'm so happy with how our current government is operating. If you can tell me when you have felt like that and who was in government, I'd be really sort of interested to sort of see how things were back then. Yeah, I think that's a interesting sort of thing to understand.
Look at all your bloody flags, it's wonderful!
Where you can go. Say it with me.
Founded in country on Christianity, on Christian values. That's what happened. That's the history. That's a... to some extent. I don't want to hesitate to say that the forces of evil are abroad, and I've got to mention Tony Burke by name, which I very seldom do, which I very seldom do in politics. And because he's the leader of the House, I'm burning up a lot of power that I have in the power, but I'm going to burn it up. Because he brought in 2,000 Gazans without any reference to the people of Australia. Now the Gazans are people that come from the same area and are part of Hamas. They murdered 3,000 people in New York. They murdered 1,200 people crossing the border into Israel. And they murder people all of the time. And the people they murder, I might add, are Christians. Terrorists! Go to Nigeria today, and I was with two Nigerians a couple of days ago in Mount Isa, and they said they're just murdering us all the time. If you're a Christian, you get murdered. And that's what Tony Burke brought to Australia. Just in one day, 2,000. Now, I got some really bad news for you, because the Liberals actually brought most of these people in. In the last 12 years, please, in the last 12 years, they brought 4 million people into Australia. 4 million. Now, in the next 12 years, they'll bring another 8 million at that rate, and they're now 1/3 of Australia. And in the next 10 years, they'll be a majority. Our country will not be our country. They will be the majority. And our party says no migration without assimilation. Now I'll ask the question, do you come from a country with democracy? No. Do you come from a country with rule of law? No. Do you come from a country with Christianity? And I'm not apologising for that, I can tell you. No. Do you come from a country with industrial awards? No. Then what the hell are you bringing them for into this country? Now, I
think you kind of, a lot of that I, would probably disagree with, or at least have some questions rather than. Anyways, what he's sort of saying there, like if you come from a country that's doesn't have a democracy, etc., I think that's kind of like I spoke with some people in the comments on my previous video. If you don't come from a democratic system and then you try to assimilate into one, I think there's going to be like a lot of issues that are just not even, you couldn't even understand what they would go through in order to try and assimilate. And I think there needs to be a lot of care there. Like not saying like, let them in and boom, 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 boom. I'm saying like there maybe needs to be a little bit more tightened requirements, and there might need to be some degree of education or something like that, which I don't even know if that's even possible. Like it's, I think letting people in that just don't even understand the democratic system and stuff like that, or understand our culture. I think there needs to be some way of determining if they are going to assimilate, and if they are, then cool, go ahead. But if there's like some concern or degree of risk, then caution should be made, and possibly like just not let in at all, which I think is the way that we're leaning here.
92% of them, and most of them came out of the Liberal Party, 92% of them went to Sydney and Melbourne. There are no jobs in Sydney and Melbourne. All secondary industry's gone, closed down. Factories are gone, closed down. So what the hell are they doing in Sydney and Melbourne? They're doing nothing. But you're paying for them. You're paying for them. It's our money that is looking after them here. And why wouldn't you come to this country? You've got a few kids, you get 60 grand a year for doing nothing. Sitting on your backside and you get free houses. Every week we're going to make a statement. And our first statement is no migration without assimilation. No migration without assimilation.
Yeah, sort of. That sort of statement there. I think that's a good tagline. No migration without assimilation. I think it's true. I think reading the comments from a previous video, there's heaps of people that were like, they're all for it, but it's specifically people that just seem to be not assimilating well, and then having a bit of a negative impact on their community, which I think is warranted. I think that's 100% warranted.
And that just,
especially if we are going to be using our taxpayers' dollars in order to support them. I think it needs to be a very a targeted and a measurable way of how would you measure assimilation? But there needs to be a measurable way that you can sort of see if someone is assimilating well into the country.
That just about means no migration. Now, when they say migrants, wait on, more people are sneaking in through the students' visas. There's a whole stack of visas out there that they're sneaking in on. So I don't know how many people are coming in. They own up to 4 million, but I suspect it's a lot more than that. So don't shout, Aussie, 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 oi, oi, oi. Shout Australians ever, Australians ever, forever, never, 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 Australians forever. Australians forever! Australians forever! Australians forever! Australians forever!
Do we need to get Jared Rennick?
Yo. All right. I think that's it for that. Yeah, there's a lot of different questions and perspectives coming from that. I think, learning more about this, there's obviously a great need, and there's more people are coming out to these protests. So I assume there's going to be more. See, make Australia great again, and then Albo with a poo emoji on his head. Yeah, wait, make Albo go away. Okay, hang on. Oh, jeez. Okay. Yeah, right, put in the comments below how you think this is all going to play out, what you think the best way forward is. I still, again, if we're going to, my understanding now is from these rallies is that the go-ahead is for a 0-year pause on immigration. Yeah, and I think, I don't know if they kind of support yet the deportation, but I'd like to sort of understand, is it kind of a 5-year pause and then slowly allow, what happens with the people that are already approved and already planning to come here? And it kind of sounds like there's a big sort of focus on student visas, and a big focus on the low skilled workers. I still think that a skilled migration program needs a lot of focus, because that is where the job shortages are in Australia, and a great need for people in hospitals, and obviously a lot of tech and engineering and stuff like that too. So that's sort of my take from it. Continuing to just get up to speed and see where everyone sits, and we'll keep going.